Hey there, my name is Amit Singh. Welcome back to the channel PantherSchools, and in this video we are going to talk about the concept of RAG. RAG is the short form for Retrieval Augmented Generation, and we have also touched base the basic concept of RAG in one of our previous videos. So far in the previous videos, we have mainly worked on how you develop your own personal assistant with the help of OpenAI and Grok as a AI inference. In the previous video, we have also talked about how you can develop the UI for your personal assistant like OpenAI. And today we will mainly focus on what is RAG, what are its use cases, and how it is different than the tools like ChatGPT or the LLMs which are provided or which are available into the market. So if you have not watched our previous videos, you will see somewhere over here which basically will be recommended to you to go ahead and watch those videos. And let's get started and let's dig deep into the RAG. Now let's first talk about the basic example where we are using LLM. We are using the tools like ChatGPT or DeepSeek or maybe the Copilot provided by Microsoft, where we are just going to ask a very basic question, that which is the nearest planet to the Earth. That is the very basic question that we are asking. So the user goes and asks the query to LLM. LLM says that okay, go ahead and find what are the existing data set where this LLM has been trained on, get the response from the data set and gives the response to the user. That is what the basic cycle that happens whenever we are asking any questions to the existing tools like ChatGPT, then Google Gemini or DeepSeek or any other tool that is available. Now the answer could be either Venus or Mercury, or it could be maybe, let's say I'm saying that okay, let's take an example over here. Consider this LLM as a person who basically it is me basically who is working who is acting as a LLM, and someone comes to me and asks the same question, that which is the nearest planet to the Earth. And let's say that I'm saying that hey, I have read it somewhere, or maybe when I was in my college I really had an interest in the space science and all. And then I remember I read it somewhere that the nearest planet to the Earth is Jupiter. Okay, which is not true. I know that's not true, right? But I say I have heard somewhere which is Jupiter. When I was in my college days, I was really obsessed with this space science or something like that. Now here are the problems, the two problems. First of all, I don't know if my data is up to date or not. I have a cut-off knowledge of when I was in my college days, right? Second thing is that I'm just quoting some article. I'm saying that I have read somewhere, but I'm not saying that what is the source. So the authenticity of source is also not here. So the two problems that we discussed, the reference, the source which I am quoting over here, I'm not giving the reference. The second thing is that my knowledge is way back when I was in my college. So these are the two problems that we are having. The similar problem is going to happen over here with the LLM, because they will have the cutoff date. No matter how frequently you train, there is going to be have a cutoff date for your LLM. So you will always basically uh, find the old data, which might be correct, which might not be correct. You will not find the references, right? So to solve this, the concept of RAG comes into the picture. Now what basically makes this RAG as special over here? Let's try over here. Okay, let's say this is LLM. Okay, now there is a user who is trying to ask some question to LLM. So I'm just trying to create a user over here. Please forgive me for my bad rhyme. Okay, user is asking some question to LLM. Now this is not what it works. It doesn't basically ask directly to LLM. So the user asks the question to LLM. Then what happens is there is some mediator which comes into the picture. Okay, and that mediator is known as a retriever. Okay, we'll talk about what retriever is and how exactly to implement this this RAG. But the concept of retriever, this retriever comes into the picture. Okay, then user says that okay, I have this query, which is the nearest planet to the Earth. We send it to LLM. Then what LLM does is it says that instead of asking the question directly to the existing data set, it asks the same question to the retriever. And what retriever does, it basically looks for some corpus of data. Okay, there would be some data which would be available, and this is your data. You can feed in your data, the corpus of data that you can feed in over here. This you can keep updating. You can basically provide the resources, you can provide the format like PDFs, you can provide text file, some web articles, and this would be stored somewhere. Okay, this corpus of data will be stored somewhere into the database, and that database is basically known as vector database. Just to give you an overview, vector database is basically a database which stores the information in the form of representational, basically in the form of numbers or some sort of in a particular dimension basically. So vector database we'll talk about in a detailed video, but vector database stores the information in the numerical format in some sort of dimensions. And for the searches or for kind of finding the information, implementing the RAG, vector database is the best fit because of its processing. It basically helps you to find certain things very quickly. It says that you ask this information, here is this information, this is the resource which I have picked up. That resource could be the document, the resource could be your URL, the resource could be anything, and that document you can basically feed into your RAG database, to your vector database. That vector can be generated and all those. Now once this information is basically taken from this, let me put vector DB. Okay, the information is basically pulled from the vector DB. Then this information is again sent back to the retriever. Retriever sends the same information to basically LLM, and then LLM puts its all mind, the computing power, the analytics power, and all other basically decision, prepares that response and then send it back to the user. So that is the whole how your RAG system works. Okay, this is how the RAG system works. Maybe I'll do like this. So again repeating it, user is asking the query to LLM. LLM asks the query to retriever because you have implemented a RAG, and retriever will basically look for the information into the corpus of data, which could be your document, the PDF document, text document, XML, JSON, or the link to your blog URLs, your policies or something. And then from where this information will be coming, this information will be stored in the vector database, a database which stores the information into the mathematical representational format in a certain dimension. It gets this response, gives back to retriever. Retriever sends it back to LLM, and then LLM basically utilizes its computational and the basically analytics logic to give the response back to user. Now in this case, the problem that we were having in the old LLM, that the source RAG will give you the source, that this is the source of my response, and the data will always be up to date because you are feeding the PDFs and you are basically generating the vectors, and then your LLM is using that. Now if you ask the same question basically in case of RAG, then the answer will be either Venus or Mercury, right, depending on which is the nearest planet and what is fed into the vector database. So that is where the RAG is going to help. So the RAG helps you to be up to date with the information that you are needing. Now a very I would say popular example that if I give for RAG, that is basically, for example, you are working for a company, right, and your company has the policies like maybe HR policies, leave policies, or parking policies. You have a question and the document, trust me, those documents are 100 pages or 200 pages. So if you ask the question to your HR, or let's say you have given the document and you need to find out the answer, you are going to take a lot of time because you need to read the whole document. In case of RAG, with the help of vector database, it is going to find out the information immediately and give it back to you. That hey, this is the parking policy, that maybe on the uh, ground floor or maybe G2 or G3 you have to basically park your car, or if you have two-wheeler you have to go to G4 or something like that. So that way basically RAG is going to help you. Now the use cases is basically pretty simple, where you wanted to make sure you wanted to feed the information to the corpus of data related to your company or maybe your organization or your project, or maybe certain verticals like health or maybe finance or education or agriculture, transport, entertainment. You want to have that sort of application built, you can utilize basically RAG there and get the information back over here. Now let me basically show you a very basically real life example. This is something which I have found over the internet, not related to me. Okay, now this is basically the best I could found related to basically RAG. Okay, so this is the LLM. So your mind is working as LLM, which has analytics power, computing power, and having the large computation over here. Trust me, your mind does a lot of calculations within the fraction of seconds. Okay, so the user has asked certain query. Now there is a retriever. So you as a person is retriever. Okay, you are going to search for the relevant documents, maybe to the relevant files, some folders that you have stored, or maybe in your computer you are looking for something, and then you read it. Okay, for this answer I have found 10 lines of information. You give it back to your basically LLM along with the query and text, that okay, this was the query and this is the information I have found from the various sources. Then your mind is going to basically process that information, put the analytical logic and all other computation, and then it is going to give the response maybe in 1 or 2 lines with the resource itself or whatever the information source was there. So this is the example of RAG, and this is how basically the RAG works. So this is it for this video. Thank you for your time, and if you have any questions, please feel free to put down into the comment section, and I am personally going to monitor each and every comment, and I would make sure that I answer all of your comments. Before you go ahead, give it a like, subscribe, and press the bell icon so that you don't miss any update from our channel. In the coming videos, we will see how the different technologies like LangChain works, and then we are going to implement the complete RAG system.